Well, hello. Happy 2016, the year of the fire monkey. I am Wendy Goldman, and I am an acupuncturist and a Qigong master. And I'm going to talk to you today about the year of the monkey and what that means for us. Most of us know that the energy is different every year. A lot of people I talk to know what animal year they were born in. For example, a monkey or a snake or a horse or a pig. Right, when you go to a Chinese restaurant and you see those placemats that have the animals on them, and you can look up the year that you're born and it tells you what animal that you are. Now that's just a little bit of the year, but most people seem to know that, and it's different every year. So 2016 is the year of the fire monkey. So let's talk about what that means. Okay, each year the energy changes, and the year is either yin or yang. Okay, yang is the heat, the fire, the function, the activity. It's hotter, it's warmer, it's brighter. Daytime is yang. It's when we're active and out and doing things in the world, right? Nighttime is yin. Yin is darker, cooler, more calm and quiet. Water is yin. Fire is yang. So yang is hotter, yin is cooler, more moist, more damp. Last year, 2015, was a yin year, and it also happened to be an earth year. The nature of your earth is dampness, so we had a very damp and humid year, thus the El Nino. Right? This year is a yang year. Okay, every year the energy changes, and this year, 2016, is a yang year. Okay, so every year we have the energy of heaven. And I don't mean that in any religious sense. I mean the sky, what's up above us. So we have the heaven energy, or the heaven chi, we call it in Chinese. And we have the earth energy, or the earth chi. Okay, and they're both going to be yang energy, yang heaven energy, and yang earth energy this year. The heaven energy gives us the weather, right? It's the sky. The weather comes from the sky, and the heaven energy gives us our weather for the year. The earth energy is what we know of the earth animals, right? The year of the monkey. If you're born in a snake or a sheep or a rat, those are the earth animals, and those earth animals represent the earth energy. Okay? We also have what we call the 5 elements or 5 phases, and they are wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. I know this is a lot of theory. Hang in with me. It'll make sense in just a moment or two. Okay, so the 5 elements or 5 phases, they represent the actual physical substances of wood, fire, earth, metal, and water, but they also represent the seasons. They represent the movements of energy in the universe. They represent organs in the body, and many, many things. There are many correspondences with each of these elements or phases. Okay? So this year, 2016, the heaven energy is yang fire. So we always have a yin or yang year, and we always have the heaven energy will be one of those 5 elemental energies, and the earth energy will be one of those 5 elemental energies. I hope that makes some sense. Okay, so this year the heaven energy is yang fire. That already gives us a whole bunch of information, right? So we know, we already said that yang is hot, right? It's warmer and hotter, and it's fire. Fire is hot. The nature of fire is hot. That's easy to understand. Right? Fire season is summer. It's hotter in summer. And yang, when we add the yang and the fire, it's a little bit more heat. If it was a yin fire year, that would be, think about that like a flame on a candle would be yin fire versus a bonfire. That would be yang fire. So we can expect a lot of fire this year, possibly fires in the environment. There could be explosions and things like that. There could be volcanoes. I don't think it's going to be as bad as it was a couple of years ago, but there is definitely the potential for fires this year. So if you live in a fire-prone area, please be careful and take precautions and do your fire escaping. Okay, that's a big issue here in Southern California where I live. Okay, so this year it's going to be hot, so we already know a bunch of information just by knowing that the heaven energy is yang fire. And what else do we know about yang fire? Well, yang fire, we talked about the hot temperatures and the fires. But also in the body, yang fire represents the heart and the small intestine. Now, I know that's like weird. Heart and small intestine, how does that go? It's just part of Chinese medicine, and that's not a topic for this lecture. So the heart and small intestine could be affected this year by the energy. So, for example, if you have problems with your heart or small intestine, they're too active. You have a lot of digestive burning or burning diarrhea, that sort of thing, or overactive. It could be worse this year. Now, I'm not giving any kind of medical or health advice. Please see your acupuncturist or licensed healthcare practitioner to help you. And just so you know that people that have issues like excess problems, too much overactive heart, because of that energy from heaven, right? We're people. We stand between heaven and earth. That energy could cause potentially a little bit more problems with the heart and small intestine. Does that mean if you have no history of heart problems, you're going to have a heart problem? No, not necessarily. But if you do, you might want to be careful, manage your stress, and see your healthcare provider to help you manage that. Also for the digestive issues. Okay, but we also have emotions. I said there are many things associated with each element, and the emotion of the heart, and the heart is the fire organ, is joy. That's kind of cool. So it should be easier to be joyful and happy this year because we have that energy from heaven, right? Heaven energy is big. It's bigger than us. So a lot of joy. So it should be a good year for that. Okay. Also, economically, people always like to hear about that. So industries that are related to fire should benefit. So that's obvious fire, but also in Chinese philosophy, fire industries or anything with wires, computers, electronics, those sorts of things are considered part of the fire energy. So it should be a good year. Also, I know everybody likes to know, and again, I'm not giving any kind of investment advice. Please consult your investment advisor. But the stock market is considered a part of fire energy. So it should be good for computers, stock market, electronics, those sorts of things. Okay? So that's fire. See how we can understand this? When we understand the correspondences, we can understand what the effects of the year will be. Okay, so that was the heaven energy. We also have the earth energy, because they're always the heaven energy and the earth energy. And the earth energy this year is the monkey. Okay, so it's a young fire monkey. So you understand that now. And monkey, the animals actually represent the 5 elemental energies. And the monkey represents yang metal. Okay, the heaven energy is yang fire, and the earth energy is the monkey, which represents yang metal. So we have yang fire and yang metal this year. So what is the nature of the monkey? We can look at that first, right? Monkeys are kind of fun, right? Everybody likes to go to the zoo and see the monkeys because they're fun to watch. They're very active. They bounce around a lot. And they like to play and have fun. So that's the nature of the year. If you think about the nature of the monkey animal, that tells you about the nature of the year. So we've got the heaven energy, the emotion of joy, and the monkey should be kind of a fun, playful year, right? I'm kind of looking forward to it. That sounds good to me, right? But also monkeys don't sit still a whole lot when they're awake. They do bounce around from branch to branch, so we might have a little bit of bouncing around, a little bit of chaos. And it's also a young year, so it's not gonna be a mellow yin monkey. It's gonna be a young, more active monkey. So we might have some bouncing around from thing to thing. So people, situations, health conditions, things might change a lot and rapidly, and just bounce from thing to thing. Okay, so just bounce with it. If you know that it's coming, it's not going to take you by surprise, and you can be prepared. So just bounce with it, right? So think about the nature of a monkey. That will tell you about the energy of the year. And also we have to talk about the nature of metal. The nature of metal is dryness. Okay, fall is the metal season. It tends to be more dry in fall. And so we have dryness. We have the heaven energy is hot, and the metal energy, the earth energy, is dry. So it should be hot and dry this year. Okay, not good again for us in Southern California here where I live, because those are our drought conditions. So it's not that every single day of the year is going to be hot and dry, right? We have variations in seasons. It's more normal in winter for it to be cold. So it's not going to be as hot, but in the summer, it's going to be a hot summer, and in the fall, it should be drier because those are the fire and metal seasons. So in general, we should have a hot and dry year. And again, we have correspondences with the organs in Chinese medicine with the metal, and the metal organs are the lungs and the large intestine. So people that have problems with hyperactive lungs, hyperactive large intestine, maybe a lot of diarrhea, especially hot diarrhea, that may be worse issues this year. On the other hand, we could have problems, people that tend toward constipation because of the heat and dryness this year. People that tend toward dry intestines and constipation, that's most likely going to be worse. So if you have a tendency to constipation, that could be a big issue this year. So please make sure you drink enough water, eat moistening vegetables and fiber and things like that. And also I didn't mention before that insomnia could be a problem this year because of the hot fire energy. So things that are affected by heat and dryness, those kind of conditions will be worse this year. Also, the skin is part of the lung system in Chinese medicine. So people that have issues with the skin, especially things like psoriasis with heat and dryness, those could potentially be worse this year. So you want to be careful to manage that this year and not, maybe if you have a lot of problems with heat and dryness in your body, it's not the time to go hang out in the desert unless you already live there, right? Maybe you don't want to vacation there. Maybe you want to go to, Florida or Hawaii or somewhere, or Alaska. Okay, but people who tend to run damp, right, who have lots of problems with mucus and dampness in their system, we call mucus and we call that dampness in Chinese medicine, it's going to be a good year for you. It's going to help you because this year will help to dry you out a little bit. Okay, and the emotion of the metal of the lungs and large intestine is sadness and grief. Now we've got the joy from the heaven energy of fire and the heart, and we've got sadness and grief. So I kind of think of sadness and joy balancing each other out. So I think it should be an okay year. People who tend towards depression or sadness, you may have a worse time of it in the fall, which is the metal season. So just be careful. If you're on meds, make sure you take your meds, get some help, have some social contacts and things to manage that. Okay, but we've got the joy from heaven energy, and heaven is bigger than earth. So I think that joy is going to win that one a little bit, and I think we're going to have more joy than sadness this year. Okay, and also industries related to metal, which are obvious: metal, mining, steel, things like that, should do well this year. But also in Chinese philosophy, metal is related to justice and legal things. So legal issues and justice should have a good year, okay, because of this energy, and that makes it stronger. Okay, so maybe more things will be just and right and correct this year. In that way. Okay? So let's move on. We have other elements for the year, and all of the elements interact with each other. For example, fire and metal interact, and fire melts metal. Now, they don't really conflict. Metal doesn't necessarily want to be melted, but it's okay. It's the natural order of things. So the metal won't be quite as strong because the fire melts it, and also it takes some energy for the fire to melt that metal, so it won't be quite as strong in the heat and dryness as it would have otherwise, because that use of energy of fire to have to melt the metal weakens the fire a little bit, and also fire melts metal and that weakens it. So I think, again, the joy is going to win out over the sadness, because the metal gets weakened just a little bit by the fire melting it. All the organs interact with each other. So let's look at the other organs for the year. Okay. So, or elements. Wood is going to be weak. The wood organs in the body are the liver and gallbladder. And wood is going to be weak because fire, if you want to make a fire, right, you burn wood. And so fire weakens wood, but also metal chops wood. So the fire and the metal are going to weaken the wood this year. So if you have issues with your liver or gallbladder, particularly deficiencies, boundaries, the liver is the general one, is about boundaries. If you're not good at setting boundaries, sorry folks, this year is not going to help you out. You're going to have to work extra hard at that. Okay, so not good this year for liver and gallbladder because that they're going to be weakened by the fire and metal. Also, we have earth energy. We can talk about all 5 of these elemental energies. I think earth is going to be fairly neutral. So earth is going to be things like real estate, right, things like that, because fire strengthens earth, metal weakens it, so I think it's fairly neutral. I didn't mention that wood is things like wood industries, medicine, things like that, a little bit weaker this year. I don't think we're going to see big breakthroughs in medicine this year because that's part of the wood energy. Okay, so earth, real estate, fairly neutral this year. Okay, and also we can talk about the water energy, which in the body are the kidneys and the bladder. It's a little bit weak. Fire weakens water, metal strengthens it, but I think the fire is going to weaken it more than water strengthens it, and because it's going to be a hot, dry year, right, water doesn't like that, it evaporates. People that have a tendency to overwork and burn out, this affects the kidney energy in Chinese medicine. Be careful because it could have a bigger effect this year. Okay, a little bit bigger effect on overworking this year. Well, those are my predictions based on the energy of the year for what we can expect for weather, the economy, health, etc. Hope you enjoyed this recording. If you like it and you want some more information, you can reach me at goldmanwellnesscenter.com or SanDiegoQigong.com. You see those websites listed on your screen. And this video was for entertainment purposes only. Please consult appropriate financial and or healthcare providers for your own individual situation. This is copyright 2016 by Wendy Goldman. Thanks for listening. Take care.